So are we not going to talk about how Nooga was his race?
We said political 100%.
But what if I meant it to be hypothetical?
You didn't say that though.
But I meant to say it. Also, I think it's okay to get political every once in a while.
Nooga was his race should not be political in my opinion, because if that is his race then it is a fact.
I agree.
And facts don't care about your feelings.
But let's say hypothetically, Nooga wasn't his race. This statement has been used on individuals who do not have being Nooga. If this were indeed correct, that would mean that a false statement of one's race can get racial, and this can all lead to the discussion of politics due to the fact of saying a false statement of one's race can cause a political controversy. Therefore it is political, am I not correct?
Okay, but let's say, hypothetically of course, that magic exists and the phrase, Nooga was his race was a spell that transforms anyone of any race into the Nooga race, therefore making it not racist because they are Nooga. Even though they might have not been Nooga in the past, they are now, and that is a fact, making it not political or
the phrase, Nooga was his race, a spell that cannot be disregarded or avoided. That would mean that the victim of a spell usage was automatically a Nooga as his race suggests without his consent, making the questioning of this change of race a political and controversial change of action. Am I not correct?
Hypothetically speaking, of course, before casting the Nooga spell, the caster would perform a ritual on their wand that makes it so you don't have to ask for consent, making it so every person hit by a spell the wand had cast, had already given their consent.
But let's say in this hypothetically raised situation, since the automation of the consent is given by the ritual without communicating with the victim involved, making them immediately and automatically giving consent, that would mean they have not given the consent of you already automatically receiving the consent, making the statement still political.
Hypothetically speaking, the ritual would counteract that by sending a sound wave that everyone on Earth can hear, and if you hear the sound wave then your consent is given, as you are allowing that sound to enter your ear and send a wave to your brain.
But as in this hypothetical situation, let's say you do not want the sound wave to enter the brain, that would mean that the user has not given ultimate consent, therefore making the statement of him becoming a Nooga invalid to make him consent to the statement, which means that the statement is indeed still political.
Okay, but hypothetically speaking, the sound would be the most amazing sound to you in the entire world, and it would vary from person to person, so everyone would want to hear the sound. The only way your consent would not be given is if you are deaf.
But as hypothetically speaking and statistically speaking, the statement of Nooga was his race has been shown controversial as shown in the QD Council by the user of Korn stating and believing that when Zaki said Nooga was his race was actually a counter-attack on the statement, signaling that he does not agree with the statement, much like you and I. This shown us that, since we are the highest authority as a council, this would make the statement, indeed, political. We all are the highest authority of the world, since we are the QD Council, was needed to be added.
Hypothetically speaking, how can Korn say it is political when he does not know who Zaki is talking about, as Zaki could be talking about Nika. His race has been Nooga since he was born, therefore making what he said a fact that is indeed not political. So if you were to be disagreeing with it, he would be disagreeing with the laws of life itself. The laws of life are before even us too.
But hypothetically, since Zaki said Nooga was his race, that would mean he is referring to either a specific person, disregarded as it was not specific in the statement, making it a random individual, meaning that since it is a he it could be a random integer in the numbers of males on the planet, making the random integer a Nooga. What this means, that any person who was randomly chosen is a Nooga, which can be disregarded, as it could be Joe, Sharkinator, and or could be one of us in the QD Council, and as some of us are highly skeptical of one's race, it would make the random individual's probability political. We will finish this debate tomorrow as it is nappy time.